about you, Ryan, and John together when you've been aligned?
Yeah, I think we were able to create a lot of chances, and I mean, I think we find each other really good out there, so chemistry's there, and hopefully that'll happen in the playoffs too.
What do you make of how moving to the wing, I don't know, benefits John? What sort of differences you notice?
I think he kind of plays the same way. I think, I mean, for him playing center, I think maybe a little easier playing wing. So I don't know. You'll have to ask him if he likes it or not.
What's your kind of sense of anticipation to get going game one?
Yeah, obviously we're excited, and it's what we played for all year to get ready for these kind of games. So we're all excited.
What do you like about the team finish the season?
Yeah, obviously I think
especially the new guys came in.
I got a couple wins, and I think we built off of some of the things that we've done here, and confident about our game in the last part of the season.
Why do you think those guys all fit in fairly seamlessly? Even Ryan coming back after the injury, having a finish.
Sorry?
Why do you think all the new guys fit in seamlessly?
I mean, they're great guys.
Why do you think Ryan is so successful in the playoffs? He has more points per game in the playoffs than the regular season.
Yeah, the factor, I guess. That's just when he comes out to play top scorer. Hopefully.
The power play's been so good most of the year. I'm wondering what did you make of the different look down the stretch?
Yeah, it gives us I don't know, maybe some other options, some other looks that maybe Tampa hasn't seen as of late from us. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes. I think both units will be buzzing.
When you're on that unit, are you kind of like the captain of it? How's your mindset change when you're with that group versus the one that you've been on most of the year?
I think we just all talk together and figure out what we want to do.
I feel really that you guys use the regular season this year to grow and evolve your games. I remember in training camp, everyone was saying, we're thinking about playoffs. You can't just overlook the regular year. There's got to be a process there.
Yeah, obviously you wanted to build off, have a good year and take that into the playoffs. So I think that was important for us.
You've been doing this quite a while now. Is there, this is what you play for, this is what you go through 82 games for. Is there any nervousness at all?
I think there's always going to be, leading up to it, a little bit of just anxiousness, excitement, a lot of the different emotions, I'd say. But, I think everybody in this room is excited about the challenge that lies ahead. Obviously, it's not going to be an easy one, but, something that, we just need to meet head on and just go from there, take it day by day, game by game, not get too far ahead of ourselves and just focus on the task at hand.
From what you've seen down the stretch of Tavares with O'Reilly and Nylander, what do you like about how those guys work together?
Yeah, I think they just all bring different things to the table, and it meshes really well. So, that line's been playing really well together, and you can just see the chemistry starting to really blend in really well over the last couple weeks or so since Factor's been back. So, obviously it's great to see.
Do you notice anything different about John when he's on the wing? Does it unlock anything from your perspective for him?
I don't know. I think it kind of allows him to play a little bit more laterally, I'd say, just being on the wing and stuff instead of being always in the center of the ice, kind of distributing from there. But he's such a smart player, and he sees the game really well and makes adjustments when he needs to. So I don't think whether he plays center or wing, I think he feels pretty comfortable either way.
So to what degree do the past playoff rounds motivate you guys to drive you at all, if at all? Or?
Well, I think of course they motivate you, and you take those past experiences and take what you can as you move forward. But like I said before, we can only focus on what we can control, and that's our preparation heading into this, and just dialing in the little details of our game, having these couple days to just to get ready for what's to come. So I think everybody in this room, like I said, feels excited, ready to go.
How do you feel about your overall game and yourself going into this?
Yeah, I feel good. I think the last month or so, was definitely the best I felt and played, I think, all year. So hopefully I just want to continue that momentum here into this week and just continue to get better ball and do whatever it takes to
Do you have a degree how players are judged or looked at by what they do in the postseason? Probably like that in every sport. How do you approach this and where you want to be and what you would like to accomplish that maybe hasn't happened before?
Well, I think everybody here knows what we would like to accomplish. So, like I said, we can only focus on one day at a time, one game at a time, and take it from there. really can't get too far ahead of ourselves. We know what the goal is in the long run, but obviously you have to take it day by day and take care of the task that's at hand.
Given the stuff that you did have to deal with this year that kind of limited some of the stuff that you're used to doing, did you have to grow as a player, do you think, in other ways? Did you think about that during this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're always trying to improve in different areas and just grow, and take kind of what comes at you in stride and just roll with it, try to make the adjustments that you need to make and go from there. But, like I said, pretty much all year long, I mean, we're obviously in this for the long haul and trying to, play a long time here in the spring. And, when it comes to this time of year, obviously the little details are so important on both sides of the puck, and just making sure that we're, myself individually and everybody else are dialed into those things that, help you win.
What does it say about the group, Auston, that you had an influx of a lot of new players at the deadline, and you guys just kept winning and improving and that sort of thing? It really erupted the momentum around that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely went through our fair share of adversity throughout the year, especially early on, and kind of after that November streak that we had, and so I think that stuff's normal, and a lot of times you come out with it, on the positive side, and a lot of stuff that you can learn from, and I think that was really a good thing for this group to go through that, like a lot of teams do, but just growing together throughout the year and finding a recipe that works.
Was it evolution or intentional that you seem to complete your game this year in many different ways?
I believe it's intentional.
Mitch, what do you like about the way Riley, Nylander, and Tavares have played together since they've been on?
Well, I think anytime I think a guy like Factor on the line, he just brings a lot of defensive mindset, depth. But a guy that makes really smart plays with the puck in his hand, especially up the middle of the ice. So, but those two have worked well together. They can get around that net. They can create a lot of offensive, I'd say, looks around the net just with their skill with the puck and their kind of eyes all around them.
Mitch, how much do you yourself draw in the past playoff first rounds and exits and that sort of thing? What have you happened?
I mean, yeah, you know what's happened, but try not to focus on that. It's a new year, it's a new opportunity, new group in here, so we're excited for this opportunity. And can't look too far ahead, can't look behind. You just got to be in the here and now and take it day by day.
What does it say about the group too that you guys had so many new faces in the league and it was all seamless for the most part?
Yeah, I think obviously our mindset when you bring in new guys, you want to try to get them adapted as quick as they can to the group, and it wasn't too hard with these guys that we did bring in. A lot of really just, I'd say big personalities, and it's been a lot of fun to have around, and we got some guys that have some serious experience as well. So, like I said, we just got to make sure we're here day in, day out, just, not trying to think about too much ahead of us and too much behind us.
As far as cool nicknames go, where does Factor rank, especially given what he's done to earn that name?
Yeah, it's a great nickname. It works well with him too, so it fits him great.
The tendency, Mitch, at the beginning of the year outside this room was to just look ahead of the playoffs, but I remember in camp, all you guys coached cautioned that it's important to use the regular season to build once you get to this point. What do you feel you guys were able to get out of the regular season this year?
Well, I just think we had a lot of ups and downs. Obviously, kind of near the start of the year, just a lot of key players injured for weeks at a time. So I think just how our team came together and bonded and showed that, regardless who's in our lineup, that guys step up and can take on bigger roles means a lot. So I think that's just how we really just have grown throughout the start of the year till now, and just got to try and continue to do the right things and right mindset.
What do you like about with what O'Reilly does on your power play unit? How much does that change the field versus when Williams there?
I think, regardless of who's on our power plays, we got a lot of skill that guys can come up and make plays and do, kind of whatever they're put in and what spot they're put in. So, Factor just brings in a great stick, a guy that can take another face-off if we need. Gets around the net, knows how to get a stick in for nice area tips and stuff like that, and he's great around the net. But you can say the same thing about Willie, so I don't think much changes really.
How much is it valuable to have a different look from like Tampa goalies that used to that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think both of our power plays, regardless who's on it, have a lot of depth and a lot of skills. So just making sure we're doing the right things with the puck in our hands and trying to be eventful when we're out there.
How much you always do put pressure on yourself to perform for this team? You always kind of have. How much does that weigh on you in this kind of playoff situation?
I mean, I don't think you try to think about it. You know, you have people around you to talk to, and I think express your mind with. So I don't think you want to hold that stuff in. You don't want to keep it inside you. So I think just as a team, we're not trying to think of anything outside this locker room. We're not trying to worry about anything else. We're just trying to worry about ourselves and how we can be the best we can be.
What's the focus for on floor? So you do a little bit of that at the start of practice. What has to happen to make that successful if you're in that game state?
Just make sure you know your assignment, you know your guy off face-offs. Just making sure we're doing the right thing when we're trying to get the puck back and not making it easy on opponents.
So Matthew, first full practice, what was that like?
Yeah, it was just nice to get on the ice with all the guys at the same time. Be around them another time that I can just take notes, listen and learn, and just kind of get adjusted to the pace.
What's your mindset here? Obviously, we see you're practicing in the gray there. Like, what's your mindset going forward here?
I'm just be anywhere they need me, honestly. I'm here to help the team. I'm here to just try and contribute as much as I can and wherever I can. So, just happy to be here.
How are you finding the pace now?
Yeah, it's faster. Obviously, you guys are a lot stronger, but I think the more I skate around these guys, I think it just gets. I just get more accustomed to it. Just kind of builds into my game, and playing alongside and against better players, you kind of raise your game a little bit too.
How much did the NCAA run to the final? Like, how does that help you? Those are big pressure-packed games. Like, what do you pick up from that maybe can help you if you get into a playoff game here?
Yeah, I mean, in the final game, I think that the final moments, I think our team kind of let up and we were kind of gripping our sticks a little too tight and built into the pressure a little bit. So I'm just trying to bring that confidence into here and not play into the pressure, not kind of change our game, just stay to the details, and I think that's what's going to get these guys, win. And I know from that experience that playing in that kind of pressure situation, it just gives me more confidence going into this.
What's your living situation? Like, I don't know. Like, are you in a hotel? Like, how are you dealing with the actual life side of all this moving?
I'm actually staying with JT. He offered up his domain to me, so I've been staying in his basement. I have my own little private area, so it's been really nice. Yeah, he's been really welcoming, and I'm just really happy that I can be around someone that's had a ton of NHL experience, and again, someone I can just learn from and take notes.
You have to turn the music down around 9 o'clock.
Yeah, it's a little quieter earlier. Bedtime's a little earlier there, so I gotta switch it up a little bit. But yeah, music shuts off pretty quick.
What went through your mind when that happened? I don't know if he approached you or like what goes through your mind when you find out?
Yeah, I mean, I was excited. I didn't really want to be stuck in a hotel, kind of in my own little bubble there. So I'm happy that he, kind of opened up and welcomed me, and so I've enjoyed it. It's definitely made me feel a lot more comfortable in Toronto, and I'm just really happy and fortunate that he did that.
Do you get a window into how kind of performance-based and specific his lifestyle is?
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty dialed in on what he eats, how he sleeps, just the way he shows up to the rink earlier than others. I think that's the kind of little things I picked up on so far in the first 2 days I've been there. So I'm happy to learn more, and it's been awesome to have him around and just show me around and kind of get familiar with the place.
You ride with him here too, like to and from, like as a result of that, or are you on your own kind of schedule?
I have so far, yeah, but he's been waiting up for me since take a little longer. The locker room, everyone's out pretty quick here, so maybe sometime later I'll start using my own car so he doesn't have to wait around for me too long. But yeah, as of right now, I'm going with him.
What a step up, right? I mean, that's the hallmark of a good captain, to open his door like that, to welcome the newest youngest member of the team into the organization.
Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm super fortunate that he did that. I think there was a lot of guys in here that were kind of open to it. They were asking about it too, but John was the first one to do it, and I think it's awesome that they bring in someone younger and just bring them a part of the team. It makes me feel way more welcome, way more part of the family, and it's awesome to have him around.
Sorry, how early does he get to the rink?
Gosh, we're up he's up at like 6:15 with the kids. He lets me sleep in a little later than him, and then he's he's in the car and we're off. So I think we get around here about 9:30ish.
Wow.
So it's a little earlier than most. yeah, he's pretty dialed in on his routine. He's not cutting corners short.
How do you get along with his kids?
Really good. Yeah, they've been really nice so far. Haven't got to see him too much since I've been kind of getting adjusted, getting some new things, getting settled in. But yeah, they've been really nice and not too loud yet, so it's nice.
Sheldon, what do you like about O'Reilly in that spot, Tavares on the linear alignment that you had in practice today?
Well, Mercy's got a skill set to be able to play with those guys offensively, but obviously defensively he's able to take on a lot of the load there, and he can make it so you can play that lane against anybody. And I liked the chemistry that they had together, their time together, whether it was with John there or even just with Will the other night. I think that just works, and it's obviously easy for me to adjust it the other way if I feel it necessary.
Sheldon, if you like the way that the guys have been playing the last month or so, what do you think of the way that Auston and Mitch ended the regular season, top of their games, that sort of thing, to take on that extra responsibility?
Yeah, I think, Mitch feels like was at the top of his game for most of the season, all the way through, but certainly Auston has found another gear down the stretch, and I think he's really excited about an opportunity to start a new season here now, and all our players really, whether it's Auston, Mitch, or anyone else, I think just the anticipation, excitement of the challenge ahead, but also the opportunity that our team has, and knowing that you work all season to put yourself into the playoffs and into a position to compete and be in a good spot, and we are. So I think there's lots of excitement there. Both guys feel good about their game. I think more importantly, even than just the individuals, I think just collectively we feel our game is in a good spot, and I've talked a lot about it over the last number of weeks here, that the cohesion of our team and how connected we are as a group, I think is in a really good place, and that has us all excited to get going.
Sheldon, at the beginning of the year, I think the tendency outside this room was to just skip ahead and look to the playoffs. I remember in training camp you said, let's not get carried away, we can't do that, the regular season is important. What do you feel as a group you guys were able to get out of the regular season?
Well, you get a lot of it. First of all, it goes without saying you can't get to the postseason unless you get organized and play to your potential or exceed your potential in the regular season. You want to put yourself in the best position possible. We're in a very competitive division and very difficult to finish where we did. We dealt with a lot in terms of injuries, and I think our team grew through that and got better through that. I had some adversity this season that we didn't really have to face last season, but found our way through it. And then once again, as we went through the trade deadline, we added some very important pieces to our team, and then we had to grow through that as well. And I think we've done a good job of that, and I really like how it's all come together. So that's all part of the journey and process. And I think, the great thing about winning is that you've been through so much together. You don't get that without the regular season. It's not quite the same when you throw together a team and you go play together for a week or two or a month or whatever it might be. The beauty of the Stanley Cup playoffs is it has been a long journey to this point, and it gets only more difficult from here. So I think all the things that you go through along the way is what makes it extra special. So I think while we of course recognize the importance of the playoffs, you don't want to skip steps, because the journey is some of the best part of it.
How do you expect that O'Reilly might change the complexion of your team here as you get to these big games?
Well, I just think that he comes in with a guy obviously with the experience that he has, not just in what he's been through and winning, but leading a team through that and succeeding himself, and not just in his Stanley Cup year, but throughout his career. He's been a playoff performer. I think he's got such confidence about him that it helps keep our group calm. Helps, he's a very talkative guy. He's probably the most talkative guy on our bench. I think that's important, particularly a season removed from Jason Spezza. So that's important for us. And then on the ice, he brings so many things and does so many things in all areas of the game, and gives us such extra depth and flexibility in the lineup. There's there's a lot to like about it. And the biggest thing for me is just how he's come in and how comfortable he is in himself, but also he's very aware of his surroundings and how to fit in and how to help people get better while still focusing on himself. He's just a very selfless guy. I mean, we sat some guys the other night and we're going to put assistant captain's A on him, and he didn't want it. I don't need that. You can give it to someone else. Like, it's kind of just the type of guy that he is. So it's all part of it. That's not just him. Obviously, Achari comes with great experience. McCabe, who hasn't played in the playoffs, but has played in the league a long time, is very hungry for this. Like I said, Achari's been through a lot and played deep in the playoffs. Shen's won championships and been in the league a long time. So there's a lot of experience we've picked up along the way, not to mention Giordano, last season. So we've picked up these guys along the way that we think bring a lot to the group and help with our confidence going forward.
On the other side of that, what can Knies take away from his first practice, especially one that's kind of more focused, more kind of looking at these kind of knockout games for the best of 7?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he wasn't in the regular run line rotations today, so he's not, it's difficult that way. It's the challenge of trying to get him experience and keep him involved, but also make sure that your players are getting the reps that they're used to getting as well. So it's a tough balance for us, but I think it is important. Every experience is a good one and a new one for him. First full practice out there with the group here today. I was talking to him yesterday. He hasn't even seen the ice at Scotiabank Arena, let alone skated on it. So all of these kind of things are new to him still. And so every experience he gets is going to help him, and obviously the talent that he's shown. He's a guy that can help us, and it's another great option for us to have.
Coaching in the playoffs is a different exercise than the season, the way you prepare, what you do between games, what you do in the game. How do you approach this when the guy on the other bench has been to the Stanley Cup final for the last 8 years?
I don't approach it any differently in that sense. Obviously, for me, every coach in the NHL is a high-quality coach and has likely won a lot on their journey to get to where they are at various levels. And I think the unique piece of it is that you're going against the same team and the same coach game after game after game, and there's a lot of stuff that's happening inside of that in terms of subtle adjustments and matchups and things of that nature. But in terms of the coach on the other side, I don't overthink that. I just try to focus on our group and be conscious of what they're doing, and make the necessary adjustments, but make sure we remain committed or connected, I should say, to who we are as a group, because we're a very good team, and when we play at our best, we're a lot to handle. So that's really where our focus is.
The power play had a lot of success this year. I'm just wondering what has made you want to keep rolling with this new look.
Well, there's a couple of things. Obviously, O'Reilly's injury didn't allow us to give that a look earlier and longer than we would have liked to. But obviously we have a huge sample over multiple years with Willie with that group, and we can go back to that at any time. But I do think O'Reilly's brought a lot to that group in the short time that he's been there. I think that the power play has done well and sort of got new life into it when we made that switch, and I think Willie's played better since we've made that switch too. So all those kind of things don't have me feeling like I need to go back to it here quite yet. Like I said, the sample of them playing together is so large that you can go to it at any time. But I think for right now, having the two groups like that, having O'Reilly's presence with the first group, I see value in it, so we're going to stay with it.
Do you think seen coaches around here who love to play best against best in playoff series, and we've seen coaches around here who love to have checking lines to play against best from the other team? Philosophically, do you have a way to go about that, or how do you approach that?
I think each game, or each opponent, I should say, is different depending on how they're built. I mean, Tampa specifically is such a deep team, but I also think it's difficult to stay on any sort of matchup this day and age, just because the way teams generally manage O-zone starts and D-zone starts is far different than it was a long time ago. So most teams are, they're always going to start in the defensive zone, their best defensive line or best defensive center. So if you're trying to stick with a matchup and you don't want your best players to play against the other team's best defenders, well, then you're not going to be able to get them out for any O-zone face-offs, and that's not good or healthy for them. So I think in general, matchups aren't quite what they used to be, just because of how teams manage that. But with open play and different things, you're trying to look at it. But we of course have a bit of a sample from last season with some of the different matchups. Some of the lines are different this time around. Obviously, Stamkos played a lot in the middle last year, and hasn't been playing as much there now. But in general, because with Matthews and Marner, for me, being two of our best defensive players, I don't get too concerned about going best on best with them, just because they're so good and so dynamic on both sides of it. But we also got to look for windows of opportunity to get them favorable time. Sometimes it's not always about the forward matchups as much as it is the defense matchups, and sometimes you focus a little bit more on that and trying to make it hard for them to get their best defenders against your guys.
In terms of stacking those top two lines, you're putting, there's always pressure on your best scorers to score. How much is adding Ryan to that mix, maybe with everything he does, defray a little bit of the pressure? Because we've looked every year at how's Auston going to perform, how's Mitch going to perform, Willie, John, that's just part of it.
Yeah, I think that's the reality of the playoffs. Is a lot of the attention just goes to your top players, not like the regular season in that sense. But you're going to need goals, and you need goals from lowering your lineup for sure. But I do also think you need to give your best people every opportunity to be at their best. I think that we're set up pretty good with our third and fourth lines, guys who I can put out in different situations and help us there. The cap line of Lafferty and Auston Matthews may have been our best line over the last 6 weeks or so. So certainly the last month, that group has really come on and scored some big goals for us. Going to Boston, Lafferty scores the only goal for us. Those kind of things. You're hoping you can still get the offense from those guys. They need to contribute. Dave Camp scored some big goals for us last season in the playoffs. You want that to continue, but I think setting us up the way we are here now is good, and we're a very quick adjustment away from getting a different look, and I think we'll see that at different times.